Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Now, in light of everything happening in the real world, with the COVID-19 and worldwide pandemic and pretty much worldwide social distancing, I feel like it's a good time to cover how to play D&D and other tabletop RPGs online with friends. Now, this is kind of a subject which I've just recently gotten into because of this pandemic. In this video, I'm just going to be outlining what I've used in the few sessions which I've had during this time, and some other tools which I looked into while I was planning for those online sessions. But, without further ado, let's get right into today's video. Welcome to D20 in Disguise. So to start us off on how to play D&D and other tabletop RPGs online, I'm going to make two separate lists of what you're going to need, whether you're a GM or a player. Now let's start with the player list. Now obviously you're going to need everything which you would normally need for D&D or any other tabletop RPG. You need a character, you need any rule books which you might want, you're going to need pencils. You actually don't need physical dice for playing D&D online. Now, beyond the things which you need while normally playing D&D, you'll need some way to voice chat or even just call your GM and fellow players, and you're also going to need some way to roll virtual dice where your fellow players and your GM can see what you rolled. Now, obviously, you could just roll physical dice and then call out what you rolled, but that would make it a lot easier to fudge rolls. So for most of you GMs, I would suggest doing virtual dice with which everyone can see a result of a roll. Now for GMs, the list is pretty much the same. You're going to need all the core rule books, you're going to need all of your notes, whatever you need in a normal session. But beyond that, you're going to need some way to video chat or call your players. And you're also going to need a virtual tabletop and virtual dice. Now the virtual dice we already covered, but the virtual tabletop is a very important tool if you're doing tabletop RPGs online. Now in normal face-to-face D&D, you have your gridded board, you have all of your different miniatures, or you have your whiteboard marker, which you can draw terrain, draw buildings, use different miniatures to represent the player characters and the NPCs and all of that stuff. While sadly you don't have that physical luxury while playing D&D online, so you're going to need a virtual substitute for that. Now there are many different solutions and many different virtual tabletops. The one which I personally used in my session was just Dungeon Fog. Dungeon Fog is an amazing map building resource which also has a virtual tabletop which you can share with your players. Now there are a few downsides to Dungeon Fog. Firstly, the players can't move their tokens, they can't move the camera, what they can view, and there's a few other downsides, but there's other alternatives to Dungeon Fog, such as Roll20. Roll20 is another amazing resource which has a lot of different tools, but it also has some simplicity in it. You can simply upload your maps as an image onto Roll20 and then find custom tokens for different monsters which you need for your campaign or encounters. Those are just two of the best solutions which you can use as a virtual tabletop. Now for virtual dice, there are a few different websites. I'm actually going to link a very, very good D&D Beyond article covering some different solutions, some different tools which you can use while playing D&D online. The link will be in the description. It is a very well done article, very useful if you're just getting into playing D&D and tabletop RPGs online. But back to virtual dice. Now, the tool which I used for rolling virtual dice was RollDiceWithFriends.com. I know, sounds a little... Woo! Happy
happy rainbows.
But it's actually a very, very useful tool. You can create a room with a custom name, and all your players need to do is enter that same name, and they're in your private room where you can roll different dice. And this really, really works well in tandem with voice chat. Now, for voice chat, there are also many solutions. You could simply use Discord. Discord works very well. You could simply call your players. Like, that definitely works too if you're not worried about the visual face-to-face aspect. Or you could use Zoom, which is a voice chat service which is paid, but it's very intuitive and works very well. So that's another option for you. In this session, I actually used Zoom, and it was very effective. Notice that the two suits of armor to the left of the hallway slowly raise their dark helms to look at you.
Kill it!
Okay.
Colin, kill it with fire.
Colin?
That would be a terrible idea. They're made of metal.
They'll
I
melt.
was gonna say.
And that is pretty much all of the tools you will need to play D&D online. For GMs, you should probably, if you haven't done this stuff before, you should probably start looking into it about a week before your scheduled session, so that you can look at different tools, try them out, test them, see what you like best. And then check with your players and say, oh, do you have an account for this? Do you have an account for that? Do you have a Discord account? Do you have a Dungeon Fog account? Do you have an account with Roll20? And just make sure that everything is going to run smoothly on the day of the session. Now, on the day of the session, there's a few things to keep in mind. Firstly, if this is your first time running an online session as a GM, or playing in an online session as a player, remember that it might be a bit bumpy. Mistakes are going to be made. Just remember to laugh at them and just have a fun time. One thing which I realized like 30 minutes before my first online session was, this is still D&D. This is still whatever tabletop RPG you're playing. It's still the same game. It's not something different. It's just a different medium. It's just a different go-between. It's the same game. It's gonna feel the same, and it's still gonna be a bunch of fun. During the session, remember to speak loudly, be very clear of your intent, and to be friendly to your GM and your players. In a nutshell, just be nice during the session. And I think that's about it for getting started with playing D&D online during this really difficult time. And maybe you're watching this a year, 2 years later, and you don't even know what I'm talking about. But I pray that no matter what you guys are going through, I pray that this would help you, and it would help you have a little piece of your normal life back in your schedule. If you have any suggestions or any other tools which you also use while playing D&D online or GMing D&D online, then please put them in the comments. I hope that the comment section of this video becomes an array of helpful tips for playing D&D or other tabletop RPGs online. I hope that you all stay safe and stay at home during this time. This is a real problem, but I'm also excited that all of humankind is coming together to combat this common enemy. It shows how much we can do as one race, one human race. Anyway, I am praying for you all. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.